of our university. And in this session, we will talk about how business school can collaborate with enterprises on CSR education. And we use the case of Far East Asia as an example, especially when to talk about some of our experiences. As you know, CSR becomes increasingly important in higher education in recent years. And according to a survey by QS Stars rating system, here is a list of common practices. Number one, put up a curriculum which teaches social responsibility. Number two, encourage philanthropy amongst the student body. Number three, partner with NGO or the local primary or secondary schools to help disadvantaged groups or children. Number four, fund projects to help local community. Number five, consume less electricity, recycle water, and manage waste, and print less papers. Number six, encourage faculty and the students to conduct research that solve global issues such as climate change, pandemic spread, and disease control. And number seven, help students find jobs in local regions. However, as a business school, I think we can do more beyond the common practices mentioned above, because one unique strength with business school is that we have a close relationship with enterprises, and the enterprises today are keen to engage more CSR activities. So we propose to co-work with enterprises to enhance our mutual CSR efforts. And such co-work can bring benefits to various stakeholders. For example, enterprises may learn new ideas for their CSR endeavors because our faculty and the students may think more about the real needs of the community or disadvantaged people, and be able to come up with innovative ideas. And students may learn the essential part of CSR in business context, which in turn may help their future career. And finally, the community and environment may benefit from the joint CSR efforts because the business schools and the enterprises may potentially bring in more resources. So in this session, we will address the following questions. Number one, what is the trend? What is the trend of corporate sustainability report in Far East Asia? Number two, how can a business school collaborate with enterprises to ensure their social responsibility efforts? Number three, what can a business school do to fulfill its social responsibility? And these three questions will be addressed by three speakers. The first speaker is Mr. José Miguel Salazar, who is an assistant manager at the CSR One consulting firm specialized in sustainability and social responsibility. The second speaker is Professor Chin-Chang, who is an assistant professor at the Graduate Institute of Public Affairs Management. And he will talk about our experience in collaborating with some local enterprises. And the last speaker is Professor San-Pui, who is the director of the Office of Responsibility and Sustainability Actions at our college. And he will focus on the third question and describe how our college, under his supervision, fulfill the college's social responsibility. So let's start with Mr. José. Mr. José, please, it's your turn.
Thank you very much, Dean Huang, for the invitation. Just please give me a second. I'm going to set up the presentation. Okay, great. Okay, got it. Then I can see everyone.
Perfect. We can see you also.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dean Huang, and also the team at National Sun Yat-Sen University for inviting me to this great and important conversation. They'll be sharing some information about some of the latest trends of sustainability reporting in Far East Asia. So we have seen at our work in CSR One, and also some of the results that we have obtained from our latest research. So first of all, getting familiar with each other. My name is José Miguel Salazar, and I'm a Salvadorian national, but I've been based in Taiwan for over 12 years. And I've been working in the field of corporate sustainability and ESG for the last 6 years. First at KPMG, which is a big accounting firm, and now at CSR One, which is a big consultancy firm focused on ESG and also corporate sustainability. And actually, the topic of today is also like I feel very passionate about, because when I was doing my MBA and also in business school here in Taiwan, this is how I first came into knowledge about the importance and also the business opportunities related to CSR and ESG and corporate sustainability. So to give everyone a quick introduction about CSR One, well, CSR One, we are a consulting firm based in Taipei, and we operate under the umbrella of Bell International Corporation, which is a public relation firm. As our parent group company focuses on many different services related with marketing communications, public relations, and we started to offer like CSR and also corporate sustainability services in 2013. One of the first companies in Taiwan to do so. And we focus mostly on services related with stakeholder communications and engagement, reporting against different international frameworks, as well as strategy setting, and also helping companies to conduct better risk management, and also to train their staff and also their management and boards. So in addition to these consulting services, we also operate the CSR One Platform, which is an online platform that we're lucky to have over 16,000 subscribers from 120 plus countries around the world, but most of them are based in the Far East Asia region. And in this platform, we regularly share different updates regarding corporate sustainability and ESG in the form of different articles, events, and also we provide some online solutions that we have developed based on our experience as consultants. In addition to this, we also organize one of the biggest sustainability conferences in Taiwan. And also we bring together different business leaders with well-renowned members of academia and also the government sector, financial institutions. And we also invite some of the leaders of the most important international frameworks reporting on sustainability. And now let's dive into the presentation. So depending on the company, depending on the industry, and also depending on the region, there are different drivers behind the rise of ESG. However, if we look at it in more systematic terms, there are three big issues that are driving ESG. One of them is the changes in global megatrends and how rapidly the world is changing around us. Number two is the amount of increasing empirical evidence in terms of like the outperformance of companies that they're doing better on ESG compared with the companies that they are being considered as laggards. And also the last one is in terms of some market corrections, which is like change from a slow change from moving away of short-termism and also looking at more long-term planning and also long-term solutions. So when we look at some of the global megatrends and landscape, every year the World Economic Forum conducts global analysis in terms of what are the most likely and also the biggest risks in terms of impact that humanity is going to face in the next 10 years. And we see a very significant change of how the nature and also the type of these risks increasingly becomes more related to environmental issues, such as the failure of climate adaptation and also biodiversity loss, which are also becoming very important issues for doing business. Also, another key issue that we see rising is also the related with technology, given that in the last couple of years, especially after the pandemic, we have seen like rapid acceleration of digital transformations. Then there's also a very fundamental change in also the way that we evaluate value at companies. Uh, when we look at the composition of the value of the markets, let's say taking as an example the S&P 500, increasingly the value of these companies it's being driven mostly by intangible assets, which traditionally speaking have not been captured as well in the traditional financial statements. So companies and also investors alike have been looking at ESG related factors and ESG related metrics in an attempt to capture information regarding the performance of these intangible assets, which in turn can also help us to capture better the value. And this has also something to do with how rapidly in the last century the composition of our economy has changed, moving a lot more towards services and also knowledge-based economy. So this is also part of the reason why ESG has become more important. And regarding what I was mentioning in terms of the evidence, since now we have a longer term multi-year data based on the performance of different indices, for example, the MSCI USA, which tracks the performance of over 600 companies around the world, we see a very significant outperformance from the ESG leaders that you can see in green compared to the laggards in pink. And even during the pandemic time, this was something that was very, very clear and has also contributed to the reallocation of assets towards sustainability related investing strategies. And then lastly, another one of the major drivers is the significant change in terms of like how we define the enterprise value creation in the past and to a big extent still nowadays, due to the Milton Friedman and also like Chicago business schools and economist philosophies, like the shareholder primacy theory of value creation has prevailed in most of, let's say, business schools around the world. And most of business management and also like financial markets as we see them today, they operate like with, let's say, short-term time spans in terms of like when they look at the expectations that they have for their investments. This is also due to the quarterly reporting. However, in the latest years, another alternative approach has emerged, which is the one of stakeholder capitalism that also looks at defining value creation for the shareholders, but also for non-shareholder types of stakeholders, such as, let's say, employees, customers, community at large, and so others, in the way that the value creation of the company also transcends, let's say, traditional financial creation. So all of these are major drivers of ESG. There are so many other ones that, due to time, unfortunately, won't be able to share. But wanted to share some of the ones that we feel are the ones that are driving significantly reporting in Asia, which are regulations. If you look at the number of regulations in 2020 around the world, there are like over 600 different instruments. Some of them are seen in the form of mandatory reporting, some of them voluntarily, but there's a significant trend that Europe has long-standing been the region that is leading in terms of sustainability-related disclosures and also legislation, but the Asia-Pacific region is catching up quickly, as well as we see the voluntary requirements are increasingly evolving into mandatory requirements. So they're first introduced as voluntary instruments, and then with time they become the norm, and they're expected for companies to disclose this information. Now, also in terms of looking at the largest, the top 20 countries in terms of regulation, actually 6 of them are in the Far East Asia region, including China, India, Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia, and also South Korea. Other countries are the EU and also many other European countries or countries in North America. And so some general trends in terms of what we see in related regulation here in the Far East Asia is that the volume is drastically increasing. The regulation is changing from voluntary disclosures to comply or explain approaches, and then moving towards mandatory disclosures. So many governments or financial regulators, stock exchanges, different ministry bodies, like let's say Ministry of Economy or Ministry of Labor or Ministry of Environment, they are introducing these kind of reporting requirements. And with time, as they see more and more companies, they get used to these kind of disclosures, then the expectation keeps rising. So do see and we do expect that the general trend is going to be upward in terms of this kind of direction, and also the change of the maturity of the regulation. And then it's also quite important to say that in comparison, like Asia Pacific has entered the ESG reporting space a little bit later than, let's say, in Europe or also North America. However, we do see that the acceleration and change of this is considerably fast, and it's going to be expected to keep gaining more momentum in the next few years. Just to give everyone some brief understanding about the Taiwanese context, in Taiwan in 2014, it was first introduced a set of regulations under the corporate governance roadmaps set by the Financial Supervisory Commission, which is the financial regulator body here in Taiwan. And these set of regulations came in the aftermath of a series of corporate controversies and scandals in the food sector, chemical sector, and also the financial sector. So in an attempt, or more in an effort by the government to promote and encourage better corporate governance practices among listed companies, and also to improve transparency to build trust with the public at large, the government required listed companies with over 10 billion in NTDs, which is the national currency, in capital, to disclose CSR reports, which are the corporate sustainability reports, and also for companies that they operate in these high impact sectors of chemicals, food production, finance, and also insurance. And these series of directives have been progressive. So in the last few years, we have seen the introduction of 2 updates, the 2.0 update and also the 3.0 update. And basically, the scope has reached to cover more companies in each of them. And in the latest one, we also see a very significant introduction of 2 leading reporting frameworks. One of them is the Sustainability Accounting Standard Boards, otherwise known as SASB, and also the Task Force on Climate Financial Related Disclosures that focuses on climate risk, and also the assurance or third-party assurance for reports has been introduced for the first time in a regulation. So we see significant changes, and now I would like to just share very, very briefly with everyone some information in terms of the latest trends that we see in reporting, first in Taiwan and also then in Asia Pacific. In terms of Taiwan, every year our teams, we allocate, we request 25 researchers to work along us, and we collect all the sustainability reports that they've been published in Taiwan. And we look at over 870 indicators to try to understand what's the general direction and also what's the state of the market in different ESG issues and also understand like what are the current best practices. So as a general overview of what's going on here in Taiwan, basically out of the 601 organizations that are currently publishing sustainability reports, more than 60% of them have already dedicated a standalone ESG committee that operates under the board of director, that they have direct responsibilities in terms of managing ESG. And we also see that out of these 601 organizations, there are more than 47% of them that they are publishing the reports on a voluntarily basis, which means that given that the regulation is becoming progressive and that there's also more and more requests and expectations from stakeholders such as consumers and investors and also corporate clients, companies are increasingly being driven to disclose information through sustainability reports. So many of them actually are already starting to disclose information before they get requested as a way to mitigate any compliance-related risks. And then we also see a significant rise in terms of third-party assurance service provider adoption, which means that companies are already starting to pay more attention to the value of reassuring the public and also, very important, the investors that the information that is being disclosed, it's been handled with the highest quality. And then we also see that among the top performing companies in terms of corporate governance, most of them, 95% of them, they are closing sustainability reports. And then some quick trends that we see. Well, as mentioned, given the introduction of the regulation, that we see significant uptake in terms of reporting in Taiwan. It took less than 6 years to see a significant update from less than 100 reports to over 500 reports. In the last few years, we have seen some significant deceleration, but this actually comes from the fact that those companies that they were like under the scope of the mandatory reporting, they have already disclosed. So the significant growth that we have seen come from voluntarily reporting. However, we expect that in the next year or so, we will see also a significant rise, given that there will be more than 500 companies that will also enter into this new amendment of the regulation. So in terms of which are the most commonly reported international standards and framework, the GRI standards, which from the beginning has been the key focus of this reporting regulation, remains the most disclosed standard. And then the other two that are rapidly rising are the TCFD recommendations, which focuses on climate-related risks, and also the SASB standards, which are industry specific and they focus on financially material issues for the company. At the moment, the percentage of disclosures of both of these standards are relatively low. However, given that they are going to be part of the scope of the regulation, we expect them to increase significantly within this year and the next one. And then lastly, integrated reporting is something that is still taking rise here in Taiwan. And here, just to share with everyone, like some quick information in terms of like what's going on with the companies that they are not yet within the scope of the mandatory reporting, which about half of them are already preparing those reports ahead of the regulation. And this is also another significant trend. This is very consistent with findings from others, which is that companies that they publish the information in terms of ESG, they have a significant higher outperformance in terms of different financial metrics such as EPS or ROE. Now, of course, there's also to some extent a reporting bias because larger companies, they typically have more resources and they can like typically under normal circumstances like be more likely to publish reports and also prepare better reports than others. However, overall, we see it like even for companies of the same size, the same region, also like the same sector, that it is quite consistent. Companies that they have better ESG management for the issues that are material to them, they remain more competitive and also less volatile in terms of different risks. And also, a couple of years ago, we started to conduct these S thermometer. The S stands for sustainability analysis across 8 key themes that are of top concern here in the Far East Asia region. And we basically look at the disclosures on all the top 10 largest companies of 10 economies. We look at the Forbes Global 2000 list that is annually published, and we look at the disclosures of these companies, and we try to understand to what extent are companies managing their performance on those 8 specific themes. We look from things as how often they're mentioning the topics in the report, as in terms of ESG reporting as a whole. And the last one is in terms of the European Union, which is currently aggressively pursuing the Green Deal growth strategy, and that there's been many different amendments as part of the Fit for 55 package. We also see those policies that they are already influencing the policies of other countries out of the European Union, that they want to do business with the European Union. For instance, with the introduction of the carbon-adjusted border mechanism, which requires companies that they want to export products to the European Union to also pay tax on carbon so that European companies remain competitive in this transition, has put pressure in other countries. And given that Taiwan at the moment didn't have a carbon pricing mechanism, the Environmental Protection Agency has already prepared a draft of what could look like a potential pricing mechanism. So we see many of these actions already influencing markets outside of the European Union, including Taiwan, including the Far East Asia region. And lastly, of course, we will see in Taiwan the latest amendments of the corporate governance roadmaps take effect. So we will expect to see a high level of adoption of SASB and TCFD reporting recommendations. And this will be my presentation for today. Thank you everyone for the attention, and look forward to discuss in a moment.
Okay, thank you, Jose, for the very comprehensive discussion on the sustainability report in Far East Asia. Okay, I think our time is quite limited, so we have 2 more speakers, and if possible, please do your presentation as concise as possible. Okay, our next speaker is Professor Tsai. Professor Tsai, please. Professor Tsai, do you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, please.
Professor Tsai, I think there is like an echo with your mic. Are you with somebody else in the same room? Want to talk, you can just press
hello everyone. I am Chin-Chang, Assistant Professor of the Institute of Public Affairs Management, National San-yih University. And today I want to share with you with our college's USR projects. First of all, I want to introduce the concept of USR, University Social Responsibility. And actually, beginning 2017, and the USR become a central focus of our Taiwan's higher education policy. And the Ministry of Education has launched a USR program. And so they allow many universities to apply for their project. So I think that the whole concept of USR is that university, if they want to fulfill their responsibility to a society as a whole, they need to use their resources and professional knowledge to address issues related to regional innovation and development. And our college, actually, we also have several USR projects, and I think the core principle of our USR project is to connect with our core values. For example, we have three main core values: training talents with leadership capacity, and the second one is to develop knowledge of value. And the third one is making the world a better place. So connecting these three core values, and we have four main objectives. The first one is to make talent cultivation for sustainable development, and the second objective is integration of expertise, cultivation, and expert consultation. And the third one is to bridging resources between related partners. And the fourth objective is to increase citizen participation in public affairs. And actually, our USR project is try to combine USR and CSR, because I think one of our college's advantage is that we have strong connection with local enterprises. So there we have five operational guidelines. The first one is to respond to local needs, and second one is to attain local recognition, and third one is to deliver public communication, and the fourth one is to enhance sustainable business management, and the fifth one is to encourage multidisciplinary learning. So so mainly we have three types of our USR project. We try to promote the idea of universities, collaborative empowerment and intensive service. And the idea is that our college actively to reach local community and to address their problem and find partners to create collective efforts. And the second one is collaborative corporate social responsibility promotion. And the third one is promotion of knowledge to action integration in social practice courses. And so actually in our many of our USR project, we try to combine with our courses and try to help students to understand the idea of USR. So as I say, we have our USR project. We try to combine USR and CSR, and we have tried to improve our, and it's connected to SDGs indicators. For example, the quality education or decent work and economic growth and sustainable cities and communities and the partners for the goals. And I would like to introduce, actually we have three projects I would like to share with you. And the first one is the collaboration of industry, government, and university. And that is focused on the Daliao district. And it's about its regional revitalization resources inventory. So the idea is to we try to partner with local government and local enterprise. So the local enterprise is Jiuzhenan Taiwan Pastry, and we also collaborate with Daliao District Office of Kaohsiung City, and because of this connection, and we developed various workshops for collecting local DNA and develop a regional revitalization vision. And so the project is that we invite local residents of Daliao, and we have a workshop, we have instructors, and we try to encourage local residents to think about what are the major resources for Daliao, and that's the local DNA. And then we try to use various civic engagement strategy to encourage local residents to develop ideas. What are the future goals of Daliao? So actually, we collect various ideas and try to put them together and for local government and to develop a whole regional revitalization vision. And that is also how this local enterprise, Jiuzhenan, can help the local community. And the second project is corresponding to SDG indicators, a different corporate staff day. And for this project, we partner with Laser Tech Taiwan and focus on the Qishan local communities. So the project name is Qishan Fang Tour, Food and Agriculture, Education and Rural Experience Family Day. And we know that almost every company, they have their family day, and they may doing various socialization activity. But when we try to collaborate with Laser Tech, we try to make a different staff family day, and we invite those their staff and family members to go to the Qishan Tangchang community, and also collaborate with local organic rice farmers. So we invite those staff to go to the local community to having rural experience and activity such as harvesting and threshing rice, and also making candy with local fruit. So I think this strategy can give those staff different experience of family day, and also it's a way for the company to support organic rice. So okay, and then the third project is about care for local community, creating sustainable corporate charity drive. And under this project, we have two projects. And the first one is Sticky Heart, Hollows and Childhood Fun of Sticky Nose DIY. And for this project, we partner with Taiwan Hopex Chemicals, because this company, they make sticky notes and they can be used. We collaborate with this company and use their product to engage local elderly residents in educational entertainment. Yeah, we use those sticky notes and to develop games so that they can help the elderly residents and to have fun, and also to delay aging. And many of our students actually also engage in this project. And it is also a good chance for our students to learn about these USR ideas. And another project's name is Flick Over Dream Building Kaohsiung Dream Come True Project. And for this project, we partnered with Laser Tech Taiwan. And the central idea of this project is to help the underprivileged group and new immigrants to develop proposal of their dreams. For example, the local community may try to develop project related to exercising and karaoke, this kind of fun project. So the company and they have they invite various proposal and they have a meeting and to look at the feasibility of this proposal. And finally, for this year, we have they implement 3 proposals. And the first one is about Dream Come True House by new immigrants. It's an idea to help new immigrants from Vietnam and to become a YouTuber. So that's they provide funding for these new immigrants. And the second one is they try to help the mentally handicapped children and to develop to help them to develop games and to encourage them to engage in the society. And the third project is about exercise and karaoke fun to help the elderly. And again, it's an idea to delay aging. So I think there are these are the 3 major USR projects conducted by our college. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tsai. Okay, let's move to our next speaker, Professor Lam. Professor Lam, since the time is limited, so if possible, please make your presentation short so that we can have some Q&A at the very last. Okay, please.
Hello, dear members of EduWC. Okay. Hello, dear members of EduWC. Hello, dear members I'm San-Pui, the director of our college's Office of Responsibility and Sustainability Actions. I would like to give you a brief review of our college's work on social responsibility. First of all, let's look at the initiative at the college level. Since 2009, we have chosen ethical awareness as one of the learning goals for all the students. And since 2016, we set up a Ethical Action Advisory Committee. This committee has 3 to 5 off-campus experts in the fields of labor rights, consumer rights, environmental protection, and social care. And since 2017, we formed partnership with several NGOs, such as the Chinese Society for Environmental Education, Fair Trade Taiwan, and the Consumers Foundation, and the Association of Industrial Relations. As of 2018, we start issuing our social responsibility quarterly report. In April 2019, we start publishing our annual social responsibility report, English version. In the same month, our Office of Responsibility and Sustainability Actions start functioning. And the main functions of this office are to publish the college social responsibility report and also get information on the trends in sustainability education and actions of business schools. We also organize talks and events for education and research on sustainability. Below are some actions taken at the college level. First of all, we try to help save the environment. We use the eco-friendly materials for our newly built EMBA center. We trace the use of energy, water, and paper. For example, in October 2019, we started a paperless meeting policy. From then on, all meeting documents are now presented in digital format instead of hard copies. As we can see from this figure, on the whole, the amount of paper we used in 2020 is much less than that used in 2019. Second, we promote ethics and CSR through education. We have a graduation requirement requiring students to have 1 credit hour in ethics and CSR-related courses. All students whose first year began at 2020 academic year or after that are required to fulfill this requirement. And the courses include 4 modules. For example, ethical theories, CSR, workplace ethics, and also academic ethics. Since last year, we also held CSR camps for our faculty every year. Last year, the topic was on how to nurture skilled personnel in the field of CSR. This year, the topic was on ESG and business sustainability. Ethical theories, CSR, workplace ethics, and also academic ethics. We also held sustainability workshops for our staff. In 2018, we talked about sustainable consumption. In 2019, we talked about green meeting. Last year, the focus was on myths about SDGs. For example, many people do not realize that sustainability education is also a sub-goal of SDG 4. So in that workshop, we try to clarify more about the essence of the SDGs. And next month, we have a coming workshop probably on our SDG agenda of the college. Now, let us turn to the social responsibility actions taken by our departments, institutes, and programs. First, students of the Department of Information Management went to the primary schools in remote areas of Kaohsiung and taught them how to use Google for learning. For example, they use Google Maps to travel around Taiwan. They use Google Cardboard to experience virtual reality. As we can see from the picture, the children are really excited. They really love the experience. This map shows the distance of the schools from our campus. The farthest one is the Taoyuan Elementary School, which is about 63 miles from our campus, and also uphill. So it takes about 2 to 3 hours to go there. Students of the Department of Information Management also developed an app called the Take Out Please. Okay, all students in our university can order meals through a platform. Such orders are organized with many meals into a single order. thus greatly reducing the carbon mileage due to the buying of boxed meals. And this also reduced air pollution. And students of the Institute of Public Affairs Management collaborate with rural communities in Kaohsiung. These communities include the one which mentioned before, the Chin-Chang communities, or the community also. And students help these communities highlight their special features and integrate their resources for tourism and marketing of agricultural products. Okay, these are how far these districts are from our campus. The farthest one is about 20 miles away. Okay, this is the front page of the brochure designed by the students for tourism in the Chin-Chang community. This shows the inside page of the brochure. Okay, Professor Zhang of the Institute of Marketing Communication and his students try to help food farmers. And Taiwanese food farmers often lack the concept of strict selection and grading, and they usually mix products of different grade together. And Professor Zhang and his students help farmers grade their produce and use differential pricing for produce of unequal grades. Another team of students helped a bee farmer who designed his Facebook fan page and Instagram page. They also linked the farmer's Shopee account to other sales platforms. And this finally increased the sales of the farm. This is the Facebook page of the farmer, the bee farmer. And students of the Department of Information Management also use the technologies to help fish farmers in Yong'an, the Yong'an district in Kaohsiung. Okay, try to easy the farmers' jobs. They do so by combining drones with cloud monitoring, infrared systems, and other technologies. They also help set up an e-platform for the fish farmer for easy and for selling information. Okay, the picture shows how the students are testing the drones. And other students help job seekers to get better jobs. For example, they provide free resume health checks and also provide guidance on the resume writing and the job interviewing. There's a center in our college called the Social Enterprise Development and Research Center. They also try to help people to get interested in the social enterprises and also provide resources for people to transform into social enterprises. Okay, and also we have works on the SDGs. Starting 2020, each department, institute, and program have adopted 3 to 4 sustainable development goals to work on. And the most often selected goals are SDG 4, quality education, SDG 8, about economic growth, and SDG 17, about partnership for the goals. And here's just a summary of what SDGs are being targeted and how what kind of actions are being taken in 2021 this year. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. I hope this would give you an idea about what has been done regarding social responsibility in our college. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Lam. Can you hear me? Okay, are there any questions for our 3 speakers? Or you can leave your questions on the chat room. If not, because we are running out of time, so I would like to move to the next part. Actually, that's the fun part about the Taiwan culture. And it will be presented by Professor Butch Talks, who is an assistant professor at our college. And he will describe Taiwan culture through the lens of a foreigner. Professor Butch Talks, back to you.
You can stay here. Just here. Okay. 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 Hi, greetings everyone. So the purpose of this brief presentation is to introduce you to Taiwanese culture, mostly from a foreigner's perspective, since Taiwan has been my adoptive country for about 9 years now. My name is Lin Ping. I teach here at National San-yih University in Kaohsiung in the College of Management. And this is how I recorded Okay, so Taiwan has increasingly appeared in international news lately. So the good news is Taiwan is more and more visible and popular on a global scale. American and European officials have recently visited Taiwan, and on the top left you can see the Taiwanese Minister of Foreign Affairs on a diplomatic mission in Europe last month. On the bottom left, for example, a Taiwanese cartoonist expresses tensions with China, and in the center you can see a photograph of the Taiwanese president. So the world economy is highly dependent on semiconductors manufactured by Taiwanese company TSMC. And today, world-famous companies such as Giant, the bicycle manufacturer, endow Taiwan with the reputation of a kingdom of bicycle, as you can see on the bottom left. But it isn't just through its democracy and its economy that Taiwan has developed such a positive image. The international community was impressed with Taiwan's legalization of gay marriage, which was the first in Asia, and its management of the COVID-19 pandemic, as the title on the top left illustrates. Taiwan was cited as a model the world over. This is a German and French TV channel that offers an excellent geopolitical program. Here, dynamic maps introduce this faraway land to people who can visualize its location in interaction with other countries. Another show focuses on trains. One day, my grandma told me that she traveled in Taiwan watching it, and she discovered wonderful landscapes, people, and cities. Taiwan from Above was shot a few years ago. That's from a Taiwanese director, and there's no better introduction to the beauty of this island than this one. It actually says Beyond Beauty in English. So I will end this talk with a few examples of literature and cinema related to Taiwan, because you can learn a great deal from them while having fun. So graphic novels, children's books, diaries, stories, Taiwanese films. Made in Taiwan, for example, here is the diary of a cartoonist who visits Taiwan for the first time. It targets the French, but also the Taiwanese with a bilingual edition. So what this foreigner is, for example, finds exotic here is the Taiwanese obsession with food. That's why I must finish this presentation with food, by the way. It's summarized at the bottom with a possible greeting in Taiwan that goes, "Have you eaten well today?" With the original Taiwanese idiom on the right, "Yapabwe." So here you find the foreigner again hearing music from the street and thinking it must be an ice cream van, only to discover that it's the bin lorry, the garbage truck, if you like. Incredible but true, he says, every evening in Taiwan, the Taiwanese bring their rubbish in. And I remember on my very first week in Taiwan, I also assumed that the ice cream van was coming. I thought the Taiwanese must be very fond of ice cream indeed. Of course, nothing beats the Taiwanese diary to go deeper into Taiwanese culture. And this author tells us about her childhood in the countryside in the south, actually, when she was born in 1973. So earlier I showed you stills from the geopolitical show, whose most basic aim is to make geography interesting, because in practice, Taiwan is often confused, especially outside Asia, with Thailand. And I have first-hand evidence of this, because when she could watch Taiwanese trains on television, my grandma, for example, she sent me a package which took forever to arrive. And the post office delivered it to Bangkok. And at some point, it was re-delivered to Kaohsiung. So I wish I were my package. This sounds like a free holiday. So here, what you can see on the screen is the cartoonist wisely clarifies where she's from before she begins her story at the end of the 1970s in South Taiwan. She's 6 years old, wearing her cute little uniform as she attends the national flag ceremony. 9 years later, she's the best student at school. If you look at the top left, she's won many first prizes, and she's encouraged to leave her village and go to the capital to get the career she deserves. Here is another example of the literature that helps me understand Taiwanese culture. These stories target the Taiwanese youth who hasn't finished learning Chinese characters. So the great thing about these books for children, and sometimes for teenagers, is the phonetic guide tied to each character for assistance in reading. This book here is from a prolific and very talented storyteller, writer, to my mind. It's from Hualien. When your Chinese gets a bit better, or when you can find novels in translation, you can go for Taiwanese bestsellers, you can go for the popular literature. This is San Mao, and here at the bottom you can see her, San Mao, this author pursuing her dream of an adventure in the desert with her Spanish husband, José, on the right. She recorded her impressions in her Stories of the Sahara, that compilation you can see on the left-hand side. So this is how it looks like in Chinese, but it's been translated into Spanish and recently into English. And famous Taiwanese directors will also make you love Taiwan, whether you've been here or not. So from Ang Lee, was it Lian, to the Taiwanese new wave, for example, Ho Xiaoxian or Tsai Ming-liang. On the top right corner, for example, is one of my favorite films, Millennium Mambo, with this incredible actress, Shu Qi. She's one of the reasons I actually came to and tried my luck in Taiwan. So stories can change your life, really. Here's another example from this new wave. It's a colorful musical with a very powerful soundtrack, obviously. And this scene was shot in a landmark of Kaohsiung, the so-called Lotus Pond. And before seeing the twin pagodas in the real life, I had seen people dancing in it, really, dancing in them, actually, on the bottom right. You're about to see more of southern Taiwan in the video, in a very short video clip in a minute. So this is where I live. A short trip north from this, our university, National Yat-Sen University in Kaohsiung, will lead you to the city where I live, Tainan, and you could explore it with this card game, make it playful. So I've promised I would end this talk with food just before playing my video. I mean the video that I will play in a minute. But my friends tell me I'm very Taiwanese, sometimes even more than them, because when it comes to food, because my typical dinner looks like this: a delicious mutton soup, water morning glory, it's called in English, very beautiful name in English, and sometimes You can get it 30 seconds after you sit down at the table. That's Taiwanese efficiency. So that's my talk. Thank you very much for your attention. And now to a short video clip, which will give you a taste of what it's like to study here in National San-yih University. So.
They are a modern country and also so friendly, so nice to us.
Taiwanese food is great. It is a bit salty, it is hot and spicy, what I really like, and it just tastes different. It's much more interesting than the German food.
Yeah, for me it was very exciting to do the night market. There are many small alleys where you can go through and try some special food I've never seen before.
I really like visiting the Aboriginal tribe. I thought it was very interesting to see how those people live, learn a little bit more about their culture, and also do the dance. I thought that was hilarious.
So the company was the first to learn about food factories. So it was interesting to hear that Taiwan is exporting that much of fixing tools or fixing stuff.
Nevertheless, it was quite exhausting to learn Chinese language, but it was still very cool to just listen to the language, to hear that different tones mean different meanings. I think everybody can agree that the buddies were one of the best things that we experienced here, because they were just with us all the time, had fun with us, organized some activities outside of university. They were really, really fun. So I think we'll all keep in touch with them.
I really liked the lecture about economy, where we were together with the other Taiwanese students. We had some questions prepared, and we were able to ask the Taiwanese students about their opinion, and we really got into a discussion.
So 3 years ago, Lisa Schneider and I initiated this program, and we started out in Chandigarh, India, with our partner university, Chitkara University.
Okay, time's up. Sorry that I didn't manage my time well. So let me conclude this session now. But once again, we welcome your visit, and we look forward to any future further collaboration with our College of Management, National